Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dokkan battle video, and today we are taking a look at this new banner unit Piccolo. I think this Piccolo is actually really solid, and I do think he is a somewhat underrated unit. Yes, that third form Frieza, he blows him out of the water. He's pretty crazy, but this Piccolo is not a bad unit. So we are definitely going to take like a good solid look at this Piccolo today. This Piccolo doesn't blow you away offensively, but he's more of a utility unit, and I think that's where people maybe underrate him a little bit. He does some things that like a lot of units can't do all in one package, which I think is actually really, really nice, right? So we're going to take a look at this Piccolo today. We're going to be running a Namek Saga team where we can get him linked up with like Nail and maybe some other Piccolos and try to just kind of see him at his best. Now, it is always kind of odd doing showcases on support units, because during a showcase you want to like show them on rotation or whatever, but in reality a lot of these units aren't meant to be kept on rotation, right? So we're going to do a bit of as we talk about him, when we look at him, we're going to keep in mind that typically he is going to be floating around in the third slot, so just keep that in mind as we go through the showcase today, right? So Piccolo's super attack ability is just causes supreme damage and lowers attack and defense, right? So, and you can see he is also a Planet Namek, like a mini 130 lead, which definitely can be usable, right? So like if you're a newer player and you don't have like a ton of stones, like you might have summoned for Goku but didn't get him, but maybe you pull this Piccolo, well, you can run him with a friend Frieza and make a pretty decent team, right? So here's his passive. He's attack and defense plus 60. He gets another attack and defense 20% at the start of each turn up to 60. He gets an additional attack and defense 20 with each attack performed up to another 60%. He has a high chance of changing Key Spears to Rainbow. Okay, so one thing is keep in mind this Piccolo's got to ramp up, right? He's going to start off pretty weak until he builds up. But the other thing to keep in mind is he is a Rainbow Orb Changer, which is very powerful. Be it that it's a high chance, it's not guaranteed. You are going to see it quite often. And then he gets 6% HP recovered per Rainbow Key Spear. And then obviously the big thing is he is a Key 3 40% attack and defense support for Planet Namek Saga, right? So when we're looking at, like, if you just watch a showcase of this guy and you're just looking at like the attack and defense numbers, yeah, you're not going to be blown away. But if you really pay attention to when he orb changes, how it affects the field, and how much he can actually heal, that's where I think this guy is underrated, because that is some really good utility that can help you out in difficult content, right? So I'm definitely going to showcase his healing in this video. I'm going to set myself up to take some damage intentionally so that we can see how much he heals based on how many orbs he grabs. The most Rainbow Orbs he can grab in a turn is 5, right? Which is very difficult to do, but 4 isn't the hardest thing to do, especially when you have a Rainbow Orb Changer, which he himself is, right? But let's say we grabbed 5 orbs, like, that's 30% of your health. That is a huge chunk of health that you can heal back. And the reason why this is valuable in difficult content is because in a lot of the newer difficult content, they heavily limit the items you can bring, right? You're limited to 1 or 2 items on the most difficult content in the game. So having this Piccolo is kind of like having a healing item in your back pocket every other turn, or maybe every few turns depending on if he's floating or on rotation, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the team build we have for this Piccolo. So my plan is we're just running the Planet Namek Saga team with the LR Frieza. And basically we've got our Piccolo, and we have a Piccolo and a Nail that we're going to kind of link him up with. Now here's the thing. People complain that there are too many units just named Piccolo that don't have other names, and I would agree with that, right? But because of the same name update and the way some of these Piccolo units function, he can get away with it a little bit more. Because remember, when units transform mid-battle, even if they have the same name, they will link up with units of the same name as long as they are a different card, right? Or even if it's the same card but an untransformed version of that card, right? Also, I have the Boo, that Int Frieza floating a support, and then there's the Nail and Piccolo I'm going to run with them. Now, when you're looking at this AGL Piccolo, the main reason I'm running this one is because he's Planet Namek Saga. But even though they don't link up at first, when this Piccolo transforms, they will link. And the thing is the best link partner for the Piccolo that we're showcasing today is actually physical Piccolo after he transforms. The problem is that's a Cell Saga Piccolo, and we can't actually run him on this team. Now, Nail is going to be a very suitable partner for him, and it's kind of crazy, but like, the physical Piccolo in that AGL Nail are still kind of crazy, to be honest, and I want more reasons to be able to run them. Now, Piccolo here's at 89k defense. Not the craziest thing in the world, but remember, he hasn't like built up hardly anything yet. He's basically got like, so he got a 20% attack and defense, but he still has a full 60% attack and defense from attack stacking, and then another 40% attack and defense on each additional turn. So basically, the third turn he shows up, we can get him fully maxed out. So we're just going to attack here, and yeah, 1.17. Now keep in mind, third form Frieza was actually under 1 million on his first attack, but there are a couple factors. My Piccolo I'm actually rolling with is actually 69%, right? Let's see what Piccolo takes here, by the way. 47k. That's not the worst, right? But, you know, defensively, he just isn't there yet, right? But my Piccolo is 69%, and I know that's like an odd percent to do a showcase on. I intended to do a 55%, but just out of habit, I pulled 2 Piccolos and I just fed them in right away, because I always do that because I don't want to like lose the card. And, you know, I'm still a new enough YouTuber that I don't have that built-in YouTube mentality like, oh yeah, I got to do a 55 showcase. I kind of got to hold on to that, right? So we'll do a 69% showcase, one of the more interesting ones, right? So I would say Piccolo in third form, like that turn 1 attack is probably going to be pretty similar to both of them. It's just my Piccolo has an extra dupe, right? Okay, so I've got this nice little Int Frieza, AGL Frieza rotation. We're just going to let them do their thing. But what's going to happen is I think next turn we're going to have Nail linked up, which is good. We'll get a turn to see how he looks with Nail. And then after a couple more turns, this AGL Piccolo, by the time he gets on rotation with my Tech Piccolo, he's going to be transforming and they're going to link. So it's going to line up like pretty darn perfect, right? Alright, so we'll take a look at what Piccolo is going to do on turn 2. So now he has gotten a little bit of stacking in on his passive. Now remember, he doesn't actually stack from his super attack effect. The stacking just comes from his passive, says he has to do X number of attacks, right? So you can see we're getting 4 out of 7 links here, which isn't the worst. 96k defense, which it's better, right? But still not great by any means. Look at Nail though, starting out at 144k. This Nail is like so good, and I mean, Dokkan could go crazy and easy A him, right? Because he does very much fit the theme of the celebration. One of the things I said when the celebration got announced was they're really going to improve the Namekian team. Now, just this one support Piccolo isn't enough to like bring that team up to like even like crazy competitive level, but I think if we can get a Dende, maybe an easy A for Nail, maybe something else, like we definitely are getting there, right? We're getting there. Okay, so I'm gonna let Nail here test the waters just because I think Nail's like a defensive god. Like, he's crazy and he stacks like fairly quickly. His big caveat is you legitimately have to have a specifically named Piccolo card, right? Okay, so 1.36 on turn 2, so he's getting a little bit stronger. Just keep in mind here, right? Piccolo's primary role is like utility support, right? Whereas third form Frieza's primary role is utility / DPS. Like, he is meant to be a DPS unit. So third form, let's see what we take here with Piccolo, by the way. Okay, 50k, that's decent enough. That's fine. I mean, this is early enough in the Goku event where, like, you're not really going to get crushed anyways. Like, you don't need a great defensive unit to survive this early, right? So, if you think of third form Frieza, like, he is more of, like, a main rotation unit, to be honest. I think that third form Frieza on rotation with the LR Frieza is actually a very good rotation to run. But this Piccolo is really meant to be your floating support, giving you that periodic orb changing, that periodic healing, and giving you that really excellent 40% support, right? So just keep that in mind as we look at this Piccolo here. And we are going to really try to showcase that utility a little bit later on in the fight. So we'll see. This Goku probably is going to get one shot by LR Frieza. Keep in mind this LR Frieza, like, okay, this LR Frieza and Goku that came out, they are so crazy good. And this, they just, look at this guy, 6.8. I don't know if this is mine or the friend one, but mine's only 55%. So this could be a 55% Frieza here, but I had a feeling that was the friend one, which maybe had a dupe. But yeah, they're wild. Alright, so we've got the fusion here. And that's a rare transformation. I actually like forget that Piccolo transforms. He came out so long ago and I never use him. But yeah, he actually fuses with Nail. So here we are, yeah. We got that fused Piccolo and we're sitting really pretty at 6 out of 7 links, right? So 152k defense, now we're like getting there. That's definitely a much more respectable number. Like, to me, 152k defense is acceptable for like difficult content to take normal attacks safely. You're still going to get crushed by supers, but for a support unit, all you really need is, like, you want to just be okay against normals. Because most of the time on those turns, you're going to try to protect with the Whis or something anyways, or you're going to try to put them in a position where they're not taking many attacks. And remember, a lot of it's RNG, right? You just hope you don't get supered in at certain spots. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So here we are, yeah, we're now over 2 mil. Piccolo basically at this point should be built up, if not very close to it. We'll kind of keep an eye on his numbers and see if they go up a little bit, but he might be fully built now. Now granted, this is a very old, free-to-play EZA unit, but I mean, this 69% Piccolo support unit still put up a better attack stat. Not that AGL Piccolo is supposed to be a big attacker or anything, he's just old and dated, but like, 2 mil to me for like a support utility type unit is very acceptable because it's enough to still do damage, right? And he's not meant to be your main DPS. You're going to be putting him on teams with like that Namek, Goku, and Frieza anyways, who are just going to dominate. Here's the crazy thing. People will ask, like, who's better, LR, Frieza, or Goku, you know, out of the new units? I do think Frieza is better for a few reasons, but guys, don't get caught up in like, who's number 1, who's number 2. Keep in mind, they're all very, very good. Like, they're both good. They're on the same tier together, right? But this Frieza just has so many advantages. One advantage being that both of the banner units support him. The third form Frieza is a sworn enemies, and the Piccolo is Namek Saga. So you can run them both on Frieza's team, whereas third form Frieza does nothing for the Goku. And then the LR Frieza just has the godly Frieza villain link set with, like, I think he's got like 100 plus attack just in links alone. Which is pretty wild to me. And Frieza gets bonuses while fighting superclass enemies or like Goku enemies, which are way more common than Goku fighting against Frieza enemies or like villain enemies. So yeah, that Frieza's just got too many advantages there, right? Alright, so let's look at our health here. We've got lined up, what, 4 orbs I think we're going to grab here. Let's watch our health now, and let's watch this healing kick in. So 4 orbs, we just got, what, over 120k health right there. That was a really nice solid heal. When we came into this turn, right, we were at the point where we had to be thinking about healing items. With that heal there, plus any additional healing we can get, that AGL Piccolo heals, by the way, we got a very nice heal there. And Namekians in general do a lot of healing. Now we suddenly are at the point where we might not need an item. So now, yeah, 2.36 by the way, the attack getting a little bit better. I think now that's probably the fully built up attack stat at this point. But this Piccolo can save you items and be very clutch for difficult events. And once again, keep in mind that the defense and damage that he does isn't going to detract from your team as much because you're running him in slot 3. That's really where you should be running this Piccolo. The only exception to that, let's see what this Piccolo takes, by the way. 172. That's good, though. I want to keep us, like, with some damage down, because I want us to keep looking at the healing of this Tech Piccolo, right? So, the only time that Tech Piccolo is going to be considered like a rotation unit is if we get to the point where you can build a full Namekian team, and he ends up being one of the better attacking units just because Namekians are limited, right? In that situation, yes, I could see it, but on your typical Planet Namek Saga team, like, you're going to run him in slot 3 because you're going to want these ridiculous LR Frieza and Gokus in slot 1, right? Or in the main rotations. So, even though the Friezas link up better, I'm just going to let this Nail kind of go crazy in slot 1. Just to let him stack a little bit. I just never get to use this Nail. And I've always really liked him. And he's actually one of the few units that's like a banner unit that's a little bit older. I actually don't have Nail rainbowed. I want to say mine's 90%. I think I need one more. So if I ever picked up another nail randomly, that would be pretty hype. Because he has, I feel like this nail and the physical Piccolo, they are units that actually have aged very well just based on their defensive capabilities alone. Offensively, yeah, they're definitely outclassed. But they can get you through hard content because they can just become like a stone wall that can't be beat, right? And there we are, double digits there. And yeah, this Frieza at 5.5 mil. Goku's pretty much going to be done here. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. Oh, he didn't get the additional. All right, well, maybe our Tech Piccolo will finish him off. So there, you saw the orb changing kicked in. We have the active skill of Frieza, but we're not going to use it because we're showing off Piccolo here. Yeah, 152k defense, so I think we're definitely capped out, right? So at 69%, being very well linked. Now, this is unsupported. 152k is about where he's going to be defensively. You get him well supported, he could be like 180-ish, maybe in that range, right? But look at the healing again. Huge chunks, several health bars of health we just got there. Once again, we were in the danger zone. Now we're feeling okay. So now it's to the point where in a difficult event, you're either not using an item at all, or maybe you can get by with like an Icarus or a Whis instead of healing. What this allows you to do, let's say you're doing a run with 2 items. Your standard pick would be something like Whis and maybe Princess Snake or Ader because you want something to heal, something with pure damage reduction. Well, now you would have the option. What I personally like to do if I'm limited on items, I like to get the most out of them. I like to run Whis and Icarus if I can. If my team can heal on their own, I would run Whis and Icarus. And the reason why is those are both 2-turn items. So in reality, you're getting 4 turns of items instead of 2, and you're getting the most bang for your buck. And Icarus is enough to help you survive turns. And then if you can get to a healing turn with, say, a Piccolo or just a unit with ridiculous defense and same type orbs, you can get out of that situation, right? So, anyways, guys, I think that's pretty much all we really need to see on this Piccolo. Like I said, the key changing came in clutch. His orb changing was good. I think his healing's great. Offensively, we're looking about 2 mil attack range. Defensively, 150k plus. Like, he's definitely suitable for that 3rd slot support, and I do think he's a bit underrated. Like, don't be upset if you get him. He's definitely a great unit. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of this Piccolo. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.